Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Overwatch All-Star Brawl 4, presented by Star Esports. If you're just now joining us, you missed an excellent match earlier tonight as What's Your Peak took down Plus Mafia in a nail-biting 5-map series. But now we will continue on with the remainder of the lower bracket of this double elimination tournament as Team 2 take on Scion in a rematch of an earlier series in this tournament. Once again, I am Shy Guy, and this time around, I am joined on the other side by Tony. Welcome to the cast, and how are you feeling about this series here tonight?
Well, you said it's a lower bracket match, but at the same time, it doesn't feel like one, right? Like, these are two very, very strong teams. I've experienced playing against both of these teams, and they're definitely upper bracket material. If I saw them go to the upper bracket, I would not have been surprised in the least. But as it stands, here we are. But there's a lot of highlights to be had for this match, and I just am really excited. Since we're in the later stages, but like I said, these are two very, very strong teams. I cannot state that enough, how good these teams are.
Right. I mean, I think they kind of just had the misfortune of running up against each other, earlier on in the tournament. So one of them had to drop down. That series went to 5 maps with Team 2 eventually coming out on top. They then had to run up against Citizens in the next round, who are now waiting in that grand final spot. So, I think whoever comes out of this series is a really good bet to potentially continue on, fight their way up through the remainder of the lower bracket, and find themselves in that grand final spot as well.
Yeah, Citizens is obviously looking very, very strong. I don't know exactly. Have these teams played them before?
Well, Team 2 played Citizens in round 3, and that series went to 5 maps as well. So, we've got some really close matches, and it's been fascinating to watch all of these teams throughout the tournament. Citizens, in my mind, has been a team that kind of grew up over the course of it. I mean, they're a pretty new roster with kind of a revamped group of players this time around, and they've put it together pretty nicely as the tournament's progressed. But as we turn our attention towards this series here tonight, I think we're going to have another really close matchup on our hands, and I'm just excited to get into it and get underway with these two, very, very evenly matched teams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt. I think my pick would be Team 2 to win. What about you?
If I'm being forced and I'm being put on the spot like that, I probably would lean in that direction as well. I think they got the win earlier on when these teams played, and I think they are just kind of edging them out in a little bit. But I think this is one of those series that could really go either way. I want to now let's talk a little bit about some of the kind of individual players on these two teams. The matchup that I am watching out for tonight, perhaps most of all, is going to be between those two main supports. Magic 8-Ball and PMA Jellies, in my mind, are two of the best that we have in Tier 3, and I cannot wait to see them go head-to-head.
Yeah, for sure. And it's even more interesting than a lot of times, especially if we see that Babs in, of course, because they have a lot more impact. Than Lucio. Sometimes you can go whole matches and sometimes not even really notice them unless they get those big boots, right? So that's a highlight of being a main supporter this time, is if you get to play that BAP. So because obviously outside just shooting shields or doing damage whenever you do break those shields, which is a lot more easier to do now, those immortality fields can be make or break in a lot of team fights, to counter, especially when you do the pull dragons. A well-placed or poorly placed immortality field can save a fight or lose it for you.
For sure, and I am going to be watching those immortality fields very, very closely. I mean, if you had to kind of point towards like one ability in the game right now that is most impactful, I think you're either going to be looking at that, or you're going to be looking at halt. Like those are the two that are really kind of both, halt for like setting up plays for your team, and then Immortality Field obviously for kind of denying the value towards the enemy team. So I really think those two positions are going to be massive to watch out for, but there is talent up and down both of these rosters.
Yeah, well, there's a reason why they say Immortality Field and Halt are like ults in themselves. So that's why it's so impactful, because a well-placed, either of them makes such a difference, because a well-placed Halt can get you, if you're playing with a Zen, a 5-orb can just dominate somebody, just about anybody if they don't have a shield, or, like a Sigma Eat, something like that. So whenever that's why the cohesion between the main tank and the flex support a lot of times can be just as important as anything. So that's another interaction that is really exciting about this meta. But that's the thing, though, right? Because now with all the changes, I would not be surprised if we see some differences. A lot of people are experimenting with various comps that you don't see the exact same thing every time. So I think it's a really exciting meta at this time, as we're trying to figure out the meta, I guess, in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely saw that in the last series. Both teams were really experimenting. We saw a lot of Reinhardt, a lot of Diva from both teams, as it kind of seemed a little bit like they were trying to get like a little bit of a head start on what the next meta is going to be, rather than sticking with what had got them to this point. But I'm not sure that when we're talking about tonight's matchup, that either team really has the luxury to experiment at all. If you try and go off book, it really might just be the death of you.
Right, true. Yeah, with this being an elimination match, that's definitely something that I think they would be considering. But at the same time, especially if a team loses it pretty handily, maybe a first map, and they don't think they have anything that can really shake it up in a second map, maybe a strat or something like that, I would not be surprised to see them pull something out like that, because it could throw the other team off their game. So, and that refers to any meta in general. If you think outside, like maybe you guys made some mistakes you can fix really quickly, just bashing your head against the other team if they obviously are more practiced or have your number in that certain comp, doing an off meta thing can be a very valid strategy as well. So in the later maps, that could be something that either team would pull out, depending on who's falling behind early.
Yeah, and speaking of map 1, it looks like we are just about ready to get underway here. It's going to be Kings Row to start us off. Now, this is the same map that these teams played in map number 1 last time around, where Scion Esports came out on top there. So we'll see if Team 2 might be able to flip the script this time around, and we'll see just exactly what these teams want to roll out within a little bit. Before we get there, I do want to get a little bit of housekeeping stuff out of the way so we can focus on the games. First up, big shout out to Davlam2 coming through with the Twitch Prime subscription. We really appreciate the support there, and any support that anybody at home can give us, whether it's simply the follows on Twitch, the subscriptions are massive. Anything like that is always huge for letting us continue to put this. But we want to see you on other platforms as well. We got the games going up on YouTube, we're on Twitter. Come join us in the Discord as well. All the info about the next All-Star Brawl is now available, as well as signups for that one. So be sure to get in here, be a part of this community. We've got a really strong group of tier 3 teams, and it only continues to grow. Every time we do one of these All-Star Brawls, it kind of seems that we get new faces in here, we get new blood, and it's always a pleasure to watch.
And we do have the MVP to keep in mind, to see who we get to interact with after the match. So you can see that below the Twitch stream as well. So like we talked about, a lot of the big players could be number 1 or decisions for who you're going to pick there.
Yeah, no, there's going to be a lot of good options in this series, so I do not necessarily envy the viewers having to make that call, but we'll just have to see how things play out before we can really decide on an MVP. As right now, it does look like the defense just kind of rolling out with a pretty standard look here. The Mei Hanzo, kind of the DPS duo we've come to expect.
Yeah, exactly. So this is definitely what we expect with the meta. And although we do see a Diva on the attacking side, which is going to be very interesting with the Reapers. So they're trying to get real close here. Scion is to try and just take the battle to Team 2. If they can do that, they can easily take this fight.
And they're right through the choke, and they're already into the back corner, trying to dive on top of that. Orisa Devil up on top of the wall is going to be able to lay in a lot of damage to Niche. He will fall first, but Mayfall has been dealt with as well. The even trades right now are kind of favoring the defenders at this point, but Hazard trying to change that with some nice shots on the Hanzo. Very even at this point. He takes Gummy out of the mech, and that should give Team 2 an opportunity to regroup a little bit, but they give up a tick for free at this point.
Valiant effort so far, but just losing your Baptiste early is really hurting Team 2 in this fight, especially with the respawns being so close for Scion.
Yeah, but they've got reinforcements back in the fight, although, where's my Jewel? Into the back line, forced to Wraith walk away, and Scion just regrouping in the meantime. They get Gummy back in the mech, so a full 66 engagement ready to go down as they barrel onto the point once again. Devil on the Rhine of his own will fall quite quickly, was getting frozen up, and Jelly is able to find the final blow. CJ falling as well. This might just be it. The defense holds out for a while, but it's going to be Scion coming through with the first fight win.
I really like Team 2. They didn't stagger before this last fight broke out, and I thought that Hazard and CJ coming up behind was really going to pinch Scion Esports too much to where they would have been taken out, but they held strong and didn't lose anybody. And this brawl comp, if you don't get the picks, they're going to win over time, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it really has to kind of come down to Hazard being able to deal a lot of damage in kind of the pokier composition that Team 2 is bringing to the table. So if that's not happening, Jewel is just going to be able to get right up in their face. He's on the flank right now, waiting for them to walk past him and find an opportunity to get aggressive. They've isolated the Mei now, the Blizzard separating Nick from the rest of the team, and that's going to result in the first kill.
Certainly, this is surely the end of the fight, especially with the Rhine of Team 2 being frozen, followed by the Shatter. With Mei, it's just a fight-winning ult, right? Unless somebody eats it or they're really prepared for it, which is really hard to do in the street space because you're so clumped together, right? There's really no way to outplay it unless you're really, really ahead of the game. So unless they can get back and counter it, this is going to be a quick second point for Scion.
Yeah, I mean, there's not going to be a contest coming through at all. They swapped off the Lucio, and they no longer have that. Trying to go for a bit more sustainability with this poke comp, which kind of makes sense, but it might just make it even easier for the rush comp of Scion to continue barreling forward. We'll see how that plays out in just a moment, as now Devil and PG1 trying to get back on this meta. They throw out the dragons to separate a little bit, the Blizzard going in as well, but they can't really seem to find an avenue to get any kills there. They're fighting in this small room at this point, but that's exactly where Scion is going to thrive. They continue to keep up the pressure, the self-destruct closing it out, and they get the team wipe.
God, I don't know if I'm not going to call it a miss or a whiff from the male, but that was definitely really well played from Scion to be aware of it and then just avoid it as soon as it came in. So it really got no kills at all or any value to speak of. So wow, okay.
Oh, and they don't even make it back to the point. Devil was trying to get there on the wrecking ball, but just kind of gets booped back, kept off the point at all, and that is a dominant showing there from Scion.
That's about as quick as it can go. I mean, obviously the first point they took a little bit, 2 fights to take. After that, it was just an easy roll. They got maybe through like 80% of this whole map before Team 2 was able to use a male, and like I said, that didn't even get a whole lot of value. So Team 2 needs to really like take stock of this brawl comp and maybe adjust, change the comp if they got to, but it's just so easy for Scion to get on top of them. That at that point you have to just have some real heroics to win a fight. So obviously it's going to be maybe a little bit different as they come on the offensive side, but that is very troubling for Team 2.
Yeah, I mean, at least for Team 2 on the attack, you you get to kind of set the pace yourself a little bit more. You no longer have to just kind of sit back and let them come into you. Although I suspect that Team Two or that Scion want to keep up that pressure. They want to try to continue to just set the course of these engagements and decide when fights are happening.
Yeah, and I really want to talk about this D.Va, man, because like you got to think about the interactions, especially with it being a new meta, with Mei being so popular. Because the last time D.Va was out, I don't believe Mei was that viable. So with her ult, obviously, it's going to be a huge thing for D.Va to look out for. It's just like the Zarya back in the day. So that could be a reason why Nick can be hesitant to throw out his ult, because obviously you don't want to just spend 80% of the map farming it and then just have it eaten. So that D.Va is probably causing a lot of issues or stress for him, especially when it comes to his ult.
Yeah, absolutely is. Now Scion just gonna kind of be playing around this statue, waiting for an opportunity to turn on that speed boost barrel into Team 2 once again. Scion just waiting patiently at this point as the high ground being taken by Team 2.
Yeah, they're definitely playing it correctly, because you don't obviously want to just go in. You want to see where everybody is, especially that Reaper. Make sure he can't flank you, come out and just get some big kills and fade out. So it might take a little longer for Team 2 to get where they want, breaking these shields and whatnot. But this is how you have to play it.
Oh, but Hazard goes on the flank on his own and eventually gets spotted out, taken down, and now that's the go signal for Scion. They push forward aggressively, and they're just going to clean up this fight rather easily.
Yeah, Scion's position right about that statue, it's so good for them, because it's so hard for the Zen's really not going to get much of an angle. Like, they weren't peeking very much at all. Like, only like the most necessary peeks were occurring, and so when the Hanzo got a little bit too close, because maybe he was getting a little antsy, like he felt like he needed to make a play, that's where they punished him. Because like we said with Supreme on the Baptiste, he's able to dish out a whole lot of damage and punish him really easily.
Absolutely, but now Team 2 trying to make their way through the front choke. They're sticking together at 6 this time, but they're cut off by that wall. Devil gonna go down the immortality field, can't quite get in to save him. And now the Shatter as well is not gonna find anything. Nitch throws that out, and it's not going to be too detrimental, but it's one he'd like to have back.
It could be, like, depending on how this next fight goes, but, due to the slow pace that Team 2 set, he might have time to farm it again, but so as I say that.
There's the blizzard out, and it catches them all as they make their way through the choke. Absolutely no chance for Team 2 to bring this one back. They get steamrolled once again as Scion just unrelenting right now.
I can't remember the last time Team 2's gotten a kill. It feels like a long time. This defense has just been stellar so far. They're really, they haven't moved from this circle around the statue. This has been their operating area, and they command this space. You can't get anywhere without them punishing you. The Mei walls have been superb so far.
Absolutely. There's the D.Va bomb into the backline. The wall will separate that, save the Team 2 as they try to continue pushing. They throw in their Blizzard, the sound barrier from PMA Jelly, keeping his team alive for the time being, but that Shatter might just end this fight. In point A, looks like it's finally going to go over to Team 2.
Okay. Well, they did have a lot of ults there to make use of, and obviously that, definitely well spent as long as you get this first point, because it's so hard. It can be so hard to get if you get ults economy by the defense. But this they've taken a page out of Sion's book and swapped this Reaper, and it definitely shows that it's a good call in this first point, at least, of how these teams are playing.
Yeah, I mean, so far, Scion just hasn't been giving them any opportunities, but the recontest coming through. The Scion not ready to give this one up just yet. The immortality field lets them go in, but it's not quite going to work out for them. It was a desperate attempt. They had the ults to try and make it happen, but they just aren't quite able to pull it off. Yeah,
and I mean, it's definitely the right idea. Like, it's definitely good, obviously, to try, especially when you have some ults to burn, but at the same time, Team 2 is just farming us. Like, they didn't have to really invest anything there, and Hazard came up from the double window up top and just dropped on him, and so far this Reaper pick is doing really well for them, and the street phase is obviously even better for Reaper. So very happy to see that they're adjusting their strategy.
Yeah, interesting to note, Team 2 does make a swap in the support line going over to the Lucio Moira. They want to get the speed boost on their time, take control of the aggression. That shatter from Niche is going to open things up beautifully, or from Devil is going to open things up beautifully from the Hazard in the back line. The dueling Death Blossoms are really going to favor Team 2 in that point, and they clean up the fight.
Yeah, dueling Blade Blades, but Hazard's has already been like 3/4 of the way through by the time Where's My Jewel started his, and he had lost so many people, but you know, it's always a playmaker to where if you can make it happen, especially since they don't have a diva. So that's another thing to keep in mind is that this Reaper can be countered by the diva, but so far Hazard has found a way around it.
Yeah, the Blizzards both going to be committed to this fight. Neither one getting eaten. The Reinhardt's frozen up. Hazard will deal the damage necessary, but things swing back a little bit here. The Supercharger, though, is giving Team 2 the added punching power they need to try and close out this fight. That self-destruct committed will deal with PG1, and it's now just the supports on point for Team 2. I don't think they're really going to be able to finish this off. They got Niche in front of them, and there's no way they can really get through that Reinhardt until they now have Devil back in the fight. That shatter is probably going to end things, though.
Oh, it's looking so good for them. Well, wait, they have the ball coming in.
And Hazard is back in the fight as well. He takes down 2 immediately and is trying to look for more. Getting frozen up in the meantime, though, and Sai will be able to deal with him. That's going to signal the retreat now for Team 2 as they just have to back off. PG1 going to go swap off of the Wrecking Ball.
Yeah, that fight right there just details a lot of the reasons as to why Mora is less of a pick as opposed to Bap. Because if he had a Bap there, he would have had the immortality for when Hazard got frozen, but even before that, they could have done a lot more damage to the Rhyme before reinforcements arrived, and just generally those small isolated brawls is where Baptiste really shines, so that Mora really hurt them there, unfortunately.
They will have the Coalescence ready to go for this fight in just a moment, so an opportunity to get aggressive off the back of that. The sound barrier committed in response from PMA Jellies, but still Niche will fall. Where's My Jewel right behind him as now the man advantage for the side of Team 2. Hazard committing that Death Blossom to try and close this out, and right as the overtime about to come online, they will get through point B.
Oh man, but obviously a must-win for Team 2, so they did pull it out. Now they do have really strong also with this May. Hopefully they can steamroll that into getting to the end here if they delay the fight as much as possible. But obviously Scion's going to make that really difficult with the Diva Bomb. Maybe they can counter with the Mail to try and follow up.
Yeah, I mean, Hazard in the back line trying to find an opening. He's laying in the damage through all those frozen up members. Will take down Niche and PMA Jellies, so an opportunity for Team 2 to keep this momentum going. They need to be quick through point C. They realistically need to finish this map with time remaining on the clock, or Scion gonna have a pretty good shot of taking this map.
Their Baptiste just spawned, so Scion's gonna have a hard time getting back with heals.
Indeed they will, but Devil has fallen. Where's My Jewel finding that opening pick, and they take down Mateball as well. Scion looking strong to keep this defense going. They get the immortality field out to keep everyone alive, and they stave off the attack.
Interesting. Yeah, they just came out like a steamroller, just came right over Team 2 and just took it back, and I don't know how they did that, actually. That was really impressive. They just came back out and just took it to him.
Yeah, and now Where's My Jewel up on the high ground. He's got the Death Blossom ready to go. He's spotted out a little bit, though, having to back off to the rest of his team, and Niche has fallen in the meantime to that Coalescence. The Supercharger out as well, and Hazard using his Death Blossom in the back line. It looks like Team 2 finally going to be able to push through here. They get their feet up underneath them on the attack of King's Row, but still, they've got a long way to go now, having to defend for 418 just to come up with the tie.
Yeah, that's almost unheard of. So they obviously have a huge task in front of them, but the fact that they finished it all, it says a lot about their mental state into, especially when you have that situation, when you have that brawl comp and the enemy team is trickling out. That says a lot about the fact that Team 2 does have something in the bank, but at the end of the day, like, they're in such a tough spot. Maybe they should take some tips out of Sion's book and maybe hold this statue, but it might be a little different when you're playing into a mirror, as they probably would expect to, to be facing here.
Yeah, I mean, Team Two did seem to find something on the attack once they decided to go into not a pure kind of mirror of what Scion was doing, but going over towards Hazard on that Reaper was really, I would say, like the turning point for them. It allowed them to take the initiative and to seize back kind of control of the pace of the game a little bit. But the fact that Scion just came out and blitzed them on the attack is going to make this such a tall mount to climb.
Yeah, it's especially rough because like one May wall from Psy or CYY, and then your whole team, it could just lose the fight, or the map in this case. So that's gonna be very, very tough for them to try to outplay them at every corner.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of corners, they're holding right outside the choke, but Psy throwing down the wall to just prevent that engagement. So now they'll fight around the statue. Niche falling early is exactly what Team 2 was looking for in this situation. They are going to be able to hold out here, at least for the time being. So fight one of many goes in their favor.
Yeah, all Scion needs to do is just not over ult. They got so much time. They have more time than what you would start with, so they just need to get, especially with that May ult. Once they get that May ult plus another big ult, then they should be able to take this just slow but steady here for them.
Yeah, that wall is going to give them an opportunity to try to push in. They get the freeze onto Nick, but can't quite get the kill. And in the meantime, Devil going down the main tank, or the side of Team 2 has fallen, and there's the Earth Shatter. Gummy cleaning up the kills off the back of that, and that should just be it as Scion flood onto the point.
No May ult needed here. They just a huge shatter, and then that was all she wrote. Definitely, I'm trying to look for some positives from Team 2. I mean, they did kind of take it to them once they did have the brawl, but I think they need to look for other ways of playing. And obviously, when you go to different maps, depending on what they pick, maybe they pick one where brawl isn't as popular, but for this, it's just generally speaking, it looks like, especially maybe it was something to do with the D.Va, as to why Scion did so well, but maybe Team 2 isn't comfortable in the D.Va, so that could pose some issues.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and when you talk about the brawl comp, I mean, it kind of reminds me a little bit of what we saw in the series between Team 2 and Citizens earlier on in the tournament. The reason that Team 2 is now in the lower bracket to begin with, whenever they were playing what at least at the time was kind of the meta composition of that Hanzo Mei and the double shield tanks, that was where Team 2 was having their greatest success. That's where they were really shining. But whenever the Reaper started to come into play, it really started to turn things. And Scion might be kind of taking a page out of Citizen's book in that regard, trying to kind of prey on the weaknesses of Team 2 a little bit.
Yeah, it's coming back to Hana, man. They just can't get past this brawl comp. Maybe they should play with the D.Va. I'd like to see if PG1 has any experience on D.Va. It's tough because she hasn't been played in so long, so if you don't have any practice on her, it's kind of like if Genji were to come back, in a big way, people would be out of practice with them. So, and the problem with D.Va, it's so funny because like you remember all these things, these interactions that you did before, so she's so, especially if you're not really practiced with her, you'll get staggered so much easier on D.Va once they get you out in the pilot form. So if you're not practiced on her, she really is a very punishing hero to play, and you just get very little value in it. Sometimes you can just hurt your team just by being staggered as a pilot so much. But I still think it's worth the shot, depending on if the map is brawl oriented, which if they do win, I assume Scion Esports would gravitate towards one of those maps, or if he doesn't have any experience on it, just have to roll with it, I suppose.
Yeah, I do just want to point out, we saw in this matchup last time, Scion, they won King's Row, and they won it convincingly last time. They won it in a 3-1. So at least like this time around, Team 2 able to finish out the map completely. So, there's still plenty of time remaining in this series, but as far as first map goes, that was pretty convincing.
Yeah, but this could be King's Row and Lijiang Tower, two very different maps, so they do have, not all hope is lost at all. I'm still optimistic. I'm sticking with my pick from originally. Maybe their Pharah has something to say about this map. with this being, in particular, being a very strong Pharah map, especially if you can corral everybody into the point, it's a very easy spot for Pharah to just pick away at your team. So I think that would play a big role here.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, that was definitely something that was in Team 2's arsenal on this map in particular. Just trying to think back to previous series in this tournament, and it could definitely be a power pick for them as they try to right the ship a little bit here on Lijiang Tower.
Well, I mean, they have Hazard today. They usually play with Wannabe, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I mean, and he's been like his Pharah is nasty. That dude.
I played against it. Yes, it's terrifying.
Yeah. So I mean, that could be something that is at least explaining a little bit of the issues that Team 2 has had so far, and might be why they don't look to be going towards the Pharah here on Lijiang. They're just gonna try for that brawl comp. They continue to run CJ on this Moira, but where's my Jewel? Picking up the McCree here as the Reinhardt's dueling in the middle. Scion just continuing right where they left off. They charge forward. Niche unrelenting in his aggression, and they just wipe Team 2.
Yeah, it looked like a very discombobulated attack. The Ryan was so far out, and Scion did a great job of isolating him, and then Scion Esports with the follow-up. It looked very awkward. Like when you're playing this brawl, they're wanting to get on them, but when you take it out in the open here, the McCree's just gonna have a field day.
Yeah, absolutely. They gotta find a way to close the gap a little bit, but they're having a hard time doing so right now. With the aggression firmly in favor of Scion, as Nick once again taking down Devil. He seems to be the first one falling in all of these fights right now as the aggression continues.
So it looks like are you there, Try Guy? Oh, looks like the Shy Guy DC'd, so my apologies. I didn't know if it was me or him, but it does look like he DC'd. Anyways, Team 2 coming in. It does look like they're taking the fight to Scion, but the pick off from the Kree out in the middle is going to pay dividends for Scion when they come in. Team 2 popping the Coalescence. Diva Bomb coming in, not getting anything, but regardless, it does look like Team 2 is going to take this brawl. Diva is going to do her little stall thing, flying in the air, being a little silly, and does look like this is going to be Team 2, 63% for Scion. So hopefully, if they do lose this point, it could be 2 points, 2 fights to take it back. But for the time being, the Scion Esports is coming in with the May ult, so hopefully they can make use of this to get this easy fight win. McCree up top. Maybe see if we get 2 picks, on him. So from this, it looks like Scion Esports will take this easy win for the fight. But like I said before, if they have 63%, hopefully that Scion Esports can get 2 fights in, or rather, Team 2 can get 2 chances here to take it back. Otherwise, they're going to start off at an early deficit here. But fortunately for Team 2, they're coming in with 4 ults. Obviously, you would expect the Mora ult to be coming in as well really soon, because it just farms so fast. Even after the nerfs that it received, it does come up real quick. But if maybe Devil can make more of his shatter as opposed to Niche, who's been whiffing recently. Hazard coming in really far in. Go ahead.
All right, he comes in with the shatter, and this time it's going to go in favor of Devil. He lands a big one, and that is going to be Team 2 able to come in on the point, get this flip back before 99% comes through. So Scion going to need one more fight to close it out, but they will have a pretty sizable ult advantage coming into this next one.
Yeah, so they just need one more fight. The McCree ult that they did last time up top, it got them huge dividends, so hopefully they can pull that off again.
They're going to give it an attempt. He's up on the high ground, only going to break the shield of Devil, but that Ryan now in a lot of trouble. He will fall first once again here, as now the rest of Scion lead to push forward. They get PG1 out, Hazard falls as well, and this just might be all she wrote for Night Market as Scion continue where they left off on King's Row. They're pushing forward. That Blizzard is going to give them a chance to get back in here and make something of this, but the self-destruct from Gummy deals with the nuisance that is Devil on the Wrecking Ball, and Scion now just with the cleanup here.
Yeah, with the mail coming up, surely this is going to be the end of it. There's no way Team 2 can come back in and stagger this fight out and take this map. You'd be very surprised.
Yeah, no, they're just trying desperately to stream on to the point it's not gonna happen.
Mitch landed a shatter. Look at that.
Finally.
He got it, dude.
Right as the round is ending, we'll see if Scion can keep this up. They are looking so strong. Like the level of just all out kind of blitzing that they are doing right now, it seems to have really caught Team 2 off guard.
Which is surprising, because Team 2 last time was the one with the Reaper and Scion was the one with McCree, yet they were able to just run into Team 2 and just bowl them over. So that's, even when, obviously with the McCree, that was easier, to do once they pick 2 people or at least 1. But even without that, they still seemed like they were just stronger coming into the fight.
Yeah, absolutely. And now both teams going over to some kind of divier compositions. The Pharah's in play. The Wrecking Ball's out on both sides alongside those Divas. The Tracer duel going into the direction of Where's My Jewel takes down Nick and gives them the opening advantage in this fight.
Yeah, this map is very, very different, with like everybody just kind of like playing their old dive comp. So the Tracers kind of doing their own thing a lot of times. It's very, very nice to come out on top there, because then it just sets the pace, and it's very, very difficult to come back here with this type of map and how you can isolate somebody with the Tracer especially.
Yeah, I mean, so far these fights have just been insanely scattered. Neither team really grouping up all that much, as now Team 2 finally trying to kind of do a little bit of that as they fall back to the choke. They get the D-Mech onto Gummy there and are looking ready to fly in to try and take advantage of that brief window. But PG1 in the meantime loses his as well, and Devil will fall. So Team 2 once again a bit on the back foot here.
Yeah, this has been all Scion so far, which is surprising. What I would like to see Team 2 do is the difference between this comp is that Scion does have the Baptiste as opposed to the Mora. So if you do them checked, he's going to do a lot more than Mora. That's kind of what Mora is. She should be more survivable. So if they can get more of a dive onto Supreme, maybe that can adjust these fights, because they're not going very well for them so far.
Yeah, they just haven't really been able to target him so far. That's got to be the goal here with that dive comp. We'll see if they can make it happen this time, but they're just rotating through the white rooms for the time being. It's really just been Hazard who's been able to lay in any kind of damage. He gets some nice shots, but he's lost his Mercy in the meantime. That's going to make his life so difficult, and he will fall as well. Devil trying to bring it back. They finally deal with Supreme, but the rest of their team is just falling like flies right now.
Yeah, they did eventually kill Supreme, but it took them like 10 seconds, which is certainly way too long, and they even blew mines on him alone in the dojo. So this is going to be very, very difficult. It looks like a lost cause nearly at this point for Team 2, unless PG somehow survives.
Yeah, he's doing his best to keep this one going. Will eventually get out to that mega health pack, but falls off the edge of the map there. Sai unleashing the barrage is not going to do enough, but Gummy, bit of a saving grace there with the double kill off the self-destruct, is going to probably close this one out for Scion. They just got to deal with Devil. They will do so. PG1 getting back with that mech through the window, but how long can he really last?
Yeah, these supports are really doing well for each other. Shout out to PMA Jellies for giving Supreme the support he needs. However, huge barrage is going to change everything.
Yeah, I think that's going to keep Team 2 for the meantime, at least. They're going to stay alive and keep this one going, but they've still got a long way to go. They've got to be perfect from here on out if they want to avoid going down 2-0.
Well, the good news is it'll be a lot easier for them to take out this Baptiste now that they have to approach them. So the Tracer can set up hopefully in a good spot and maybe not get found out and just one clip them, or at least force out the Immortality really early so that he can maybe come back later or force his attention elsewhere. So that I think this should be good for Team 2. Hopefully they can at least take a few fights here.
Yeah, and indeed, Devil is in the backline trying to hunt down Supreme, but Gummy doing a great job of kind of babysitting that Baptiste, using the defense matrix, to keep him alive and buy his team some time. Sci, in the meantime, has won out the Faro duel, dealt with Devil as well. So the two-man advantage here, and now Supreme just kind of free firing in onto the point. He's got the Immortality field out as well. This is all going in the direction of Scion, and Niche dropping those mines on the point is going to prevent any kind of stall.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, man. That was a very good call out with the D.Va. She's doing really a good job just being, if nothing else, a body block for Supreme. That notwithstanding the right click that he's able to provide as well. Definitely seems like a very good combo for them. And of course, once the thing that you can get with the D.Va that you might not get with other tanks is that with that mobility, she can provide the assistance there, and then when the team goes in or is ready to fight, he can get wherever he needs to be pretty much in that point. So that's really, I think, a big part of Scion's strategy that's got them that win on that map in particular.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're seeing in full force kind of the power of those D.Va buffs that just came through. I mean, I was one of the people when I saw those patch notes come through, and I'm like, wait, 3-second cooldown on the boosters? Yeah. It's like it shocked me. I never saw anything like that coming. I never felt like D.Va was necessarily kind of too weak or needed buffs at that point. Just kind of had fallen out of the meta based on what was being played at the time, but now she seems to be back in force.
Yeah, it's so weird because back in the day you would say D.Va no boosters, but now it's not even a valid call. I don't think. It's just like by the time you finish saying that, it's back up. But it's kind of funny now that I think about it, because even with that 3 seconds, the Pharah for Scion, was it Sci, I think? No, or where else my Jewel? I can't remember who played the Pharah. They still were able to boot PG1 off the map as D.Va.
Right. I mean, that's a tough thing to do right now. And then, the other thing, the matchup that I think that has kind of like helped D.Va in the most is up against that Mei. It's so hard to lock down a D.Va with those freezes anymore. Whereas before, if you went in and the Mei was anywhere near you, you were just a sitting duck. You were dead.
Right.
And that matchup kind of swinging back in the favor has really changed things, I think, pretty dramatically. And Scion putting it to great use so far tonight.
Yeah, well, again, because with the slow being reduced, it's a lot easier for D.Va to get out of range and then just wait that second or so and then come back in or do whatever she wants to do. So I'm trying to think of ways for Team 2 to kind of adjust. With the 2CP formula, it's obviously very different. So that's the thing with Overwatch, right? When you're playing all these different maps, a lot of different comps can be viable. So you're just like, you don't know if you should try and just play the standard, or you just say, hey, these guys, regardless of the comp or the meta on each one, we should probably adjust, or we just say, okay, this is a different map type. Maybe we stick with the meta here, and we think we're stronger here. That's the problem. You don't really get to adjust if you're losing. Even in best of 5, you only play 3 maps, so you don't get to ever play each map type more than once.
Right, and I'm a little bit worried here for Team 2 as we head into Anubis, because to me, this is going to be another map that highly favors those kind of rush comps that Scion has been dominating on so far. To me, they're going to continue running that Ryan D.Va, and they're just going to continue pressing W right into Team 2.
Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So Team 2, you would expect them to. Yeah, they're trying to get onto you ASAP. And so at that point, Junkrat is obviously a really good pick here. But if they don't take that route down the right, or if they get on you fast enough, Junkrat's just going to default over to Reaper or Mei combo. So it's a very risky situation if you do try to go for Junkrat. And if you try to go for, kind of the snipers, and if they take the right path, though, then it can still be very difficult to get the angles that you need. And obviously, even if you do get those angles, you need to hit those shots. So it's almost a no-win, or pick your poison kind of scenario for Team 2.
No, for sure. I think The answers are going to be hard to come by because Scion seems like they're just firing on all cylinders right now. They have come prepared, they have come ready to play, and they seem to have a really strong kind of take on the current meta and how they want to play right now. So I'm struggling to see where Team 2 is going to find their answers. It might, as you said, just come down to kind of hitting those shots. If you go over the snipers, the individual play is something that can always kind of bail you out in these scenarios if it turns in your favor.
And I feel like I've seen Hazard play snipers numerous times. I think he's a very strong sniper. The thing is though, is that we've seen Mei earlier on in the series, and Nick was playing Mei well before it was a staple. So I know he's a very strong man. I played against it. It's a very, very strong player there. But regardless, the fact that they've been losing when they go Mei versus Mei is disconcerting. So it looks like they're gonna. Well, I don't know. I don't want to call anything yet for the attack because he's got Genji locked. I would like to see that, of course, but we'll have to hold on.
As much as I would love to see it, I don't necessarily think that's going to be the answer here for Team 2. Just want to point out, teams have swapped sides, so Team 2 on the attack here to start things off. We'll see what kind of changes they want to make, and it doesn't seem like it's really going to be a whole lot as they once again roll out with this double tank. They're sticking with CJ on the Moira, and I'm wondering what the thought process is here.
Yeah, I'm wondering why they prefer the Moira over the Bat. Well, we'll see how that plays out in this first fight here.
Oh no, Hazard almost caught out by the wall, will barely just be able to make it back to his team as that one fades. And now it's going to be Devil this time on the opposite side, on the wrong side of the wall. It gets melted immediately, and now Scion just going to keep the pressure going as they surge forward. They want to clean up this fight as best they can and send Team 2 back.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a miscommunication where he didn't know he was walled, but like he started to swing, and that's when he just got demolished. I mean, I don't know if he was going to live anyway, but that certainly doesn't help. So it definitely looks like the mental game is being affected here, which is not, after 0-2 pretty convincingly, it's not too surprising. So I hope they can gather themselves on this attack, because if you get full health, it's almost impossible to do, especially when after 0-2.
Still a long way to go before that full hold, and a nice halt there is going to put Scion in an awkward spot. They're having to kind of react to that niche. Will fall in the meantime. They throw in the Blizzard to try and pull this one back, but not really anyone getting frozen up. Just PG1 falling victim to that, but they can't secure the kill. It's a back and forth fight at this point, but Hazard kind of turning things around for Team 2 as they're now looking to move on to the point.
Ooh, that was very impressive from Hazard, because I was just about to compliment Gummy on babysitting Supreme as well as he did, but Hazard came in and just dominated him.
What was that sound barrier? PMA Jellies, my dude.
Very optimistic.
Yeah, perhaps they thought they could go in with the 3 members they had there. Niche had an Earth Shatter ready to go, but that was ill-advised at best, and they will give up point A.
Yeah, especially with Team 2 coming in with a beat of their own and the Mei ult coming up. This could be very, very dangerous for Scion to lose this their second point rather.
Yeah, and now the supercharger is going to be coming. Hazard goes big with the Death Blossom. The charge in onto Niche as well. This one just might be over. Team 2 showing some signs of life here on Anubis.
Golly, dude, my screen just exploded, and I look and they didn't use the Mei ult. That was really impressive, man. They just all ults at the same time, and just exactly what you want to do on Brawl. That was textbook. If you ever want to see how to do Brawl and steamroll the second point, that is textbook right there. It was great to watch.
Okay, there we go, Team 2. That's what we wanted to see. That's what they showed a little bit of that on King's Row, but they really kind of finally put it all together on that attack round. Now we'll have to see if they can carry that momentum into the defense and try to start bringing this one back a little bit.
Yeah, I mean that definitely answers the question about their mental state. They were really on the same page there. That was really good. But yeah, the work is only just begun here as the attack from Scion. Their attacks so far have been very, very good. They've looked like that Teams 2 did, and a lot of the previous maps, whatever, especially when thinking of Kings Row. So I'm interested to see, because you know the brawl's coming. Like, why would they do anything else at this point, right? So it looks like at this point they're doing the counter brawl. I'm interested to see what adaptations they're going to be taking in order to say, hey, this is how we'll take this map. We just do a little bit, things a little bit differently, and then we can hold full hold or do whatever they think they can pull off here.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to be kind of fascinated to see how this defensive setup holds up to the aggression of of Scion, because they have just been all over Team 2 whenever they want to run at them. It's pretty much been successful. We'll see if they can keep that up on the attack, and as now they're making their way through the choke, using that wall to get in.
Ooh, nice
ult. Beautiful stuff. Catches out Supreme, and now Team 2 just gonna go in off the back of that. They want to fight here and now.
Yeah, well, with a 6v5 and now a 6v3, there's really no reason why you shouldn't. I was just about to comment about how awkward it is that Scion doesn't have an Orisa, so they can't pull anybody off the little I don't even know what you call that thing, the
platform,
area,
the high ground. Yeah.
Yes, the platform. They can't pull anybody off, and so that's gonna be very difficult, because then they can just come behind you if they want, or just stay up there and just shoot you from the high ground every time. So I would really like to see them get Orisa.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's kind of what opened things up for Team 2 on their attack, was getting that halt off the platform. So now it's just going to be a different approach this time from Scion. They're going through straight into the choke, and they've already isolated Hazard, though the Reaper out of the fight means a lot less frontline damage for Team 2. And now Scion fighting in that immortality field, but the shatter from Devil might just save the day. PG1 taking down Jewel, and they are going to be able to stabilize just enough to keep this defense going.
Well, that's one of the highlights of Moira, right? Is that she charges her ult so fast. I mean, Baptiste does charge his pretty fast, but especially after you lose the fight and after the nerf, you can expect Moira to do it quite often quicker. And in addition, it's more of like a fight-winning ult in a lot of situations, especially if you aren't playing with an Orisa to pull Fire Strike or pull follow-up in any way.
Yeah, for sure. Now Hazard goes in to try and lay in some damage. The Blizzard going to be committed by Team 2, and they're going to lock down Scion in that small room. The immortality field not going to save Supreme, and the defensive effort looking much better here for Team 2.
Yeah, we might see a map 4 at this rate, because Team 2 is looking really, really strong. Their ult economy, their rolling ults, has been really strong so far, and with this situation, their position is really, really good. I like to see.
Okay, and they're going to take the fight right to Scion, using that supercharger to barrel right into them. Niche will fall, and they just are kind of flipping the script here. The teams have flipped sides, but it doesn't seem like it necessarily. Is whoever is the red team just dominating right now.
that's very true. And with the red team coming up on a shatter now and another coalescence, they can roll down another fight here pretty easily.
Ooh, Hazard dropping in from the top rope with that Death Blossom. Enough of a distraction to set up that shatter, as Team 2 not letting go of the gas pedal at all. They use the Coalescence as well. That's a big commitment on the defense, though.
Yeah, but not as big as the beat from the offense. So I don't know if maybe they're getting a little tilted here. Once you hit that 1 minute mark, that's when it really starts to set in. You hear that announcer announce that 1 minute. It starts to really think, okay, we might not actually get this first point.
Yeah, I mean, they commit the beat to that fight, but the beat is all really that Team 2 has at the moment. Nick could be building up to that Blizzard in just a moment. He's trying to land those last icicles. Will be able to lay it down now, looking for an opportunity. He'll throw it in, but only gonna freeze up Niche. The immortality field saves him for the meantime. The self-destruct as well buys some time for Scion, or for Team 2 rather, as Scion now looking to close out this attack. They finally punched their ticket through.
Oh, that was so close. I definitely like Team 2's strategy of just waiting for they didn't engage until Nick got that freeze. But unfortunately, yeah, like you said, it only got the Rhine. Didn't follow up with a really nice immortality from Supreme. So we do have a game on our hands here as far as this map is concerned.
Yeah, so now an opportunity for Team 2 to keep this one going, or at least set up on the defense. A nice wall there onto Niche, but he throws out the Shatter, trying to stay alive, and Team 2 going to able to stay alive on this defense. The Death Blossom committed from Hazard as they barrel forward. They get really aggressive, and they keep it up right now.
Yeah, so they did burn 3 ults, but at least the Cole is a fast charging one, so we'll say 2.5. With Scion coming up on their beats and a Mail, I think they should probably wait until they get that before engaging, and I think with that they should be able to take this point pretty handily if they play it right.
Yeah, as long as that one can land on several members of Team 2, Scion going to be in a good spot. Only the Shatter available for Devil to try and defend with. Niche in an awkward spot, isolated by that wall, and the Shatter is pretty solid. They take down, or they trade Reinhardt's rather, as that's going to favor the defense in this situation, but still ults available to commit for Team 2 as they have the sound barrier in reserve. Not going to need it here. They get enough trades to keep this defense going.
Devil coming through like a steam train, man. Just took him out. That was really funny to watch. But yeah, very good job from Nick. That pick that they got, that trade, was just crucial. Otherwise, if that beat had come in when Scion still had 6, I think this would have been a point taken. So shout out to Nick for that one. And now they have 4 ults, so I think Team 2 is set up for a really good hold here.
Yeah, indeed they are. That wall committed now, and the Blizzard out from Team 2. The Shatter committed by Niche. Not going to find a whole lot, and he will fall. The death block, or the sound barrier is perfectly timed to prevent that self-destruct from finding anything. The Blossom not going to work out well for Jewel either, as Team 2 going to finish off this fight, but Scion sticking around and trying to commit to this one towards the tail end.
Yeah, I wonder if Sion's going to change with Supreme using his Baptiste ult at definitely an ill-advised time. It doesn't seem like they are. I would like to see maybe they try that, because it was working for Team 2 now, especially with the way that these walls have been going. I mean, it's really hard for sometimes Bap to get in the position that he needs. And Hazard can come off the top rope, so if he can make this happen, then this is going to be point hold for Team 2.
Yeah, he's not going to get the opportunity just yet as Scion make the rotation through the left-hand side. They do avoid the most dangerous spot there, but the wall has isolated Sai. He has to commit the Blizzard to try and stay alive. It's going to find Devil, so an opening here for Scion as they push forward. They get the kill onto Nick as well, but it's going to be an overtime if they do wind up finishing off this fight. They've got the advantage right now. They take out PG1. And as long as they can deal with these stragglers, they should be able to get 2 points on the board.
Yeah, but this attack has been very good. The setup all by the Mail, which is obviously a huge offensive capability for them, but they've already in overtime, so if Team 2 can just pull something out, otherwise they're going to be happy no matter what here.
Yeah, Jewel gonna prevent any opportunity to bring this one back for Team 2, but ultimately they're going to be pretty happy with how this turns out. They'll have 426 to attack point A, needing just a single tick to take their first map of the series.
Yeah, from watching that attack, I think Gummy is going to be my MVP. What happened was that Hazard came in and was ulting, and CJ was coalescing, and so what Gummy did was boop the ulting Reaper into the back corner, the little horseshoe-shaped dark area, and then proceeded to right-click him, and his teammate, I think it was his Lucio, finished him off, and he didn't get coalescence because he was booped in the back. So that was a really crazy play that he pulled off there. I don't know how much of that was calculated, but regardless, like, he's really heads up and really quick on focusing his attention and his matrix on Hazard's ultimates, and I think that's been a really, we saw it early with Li Jiang. He was really just helping Supreme stay alive, and I think Gummy has been really strong on this diva and just showcasing the capabilities of that character in this meta.
For sure, and it now looks like, well, actually guaranteed now we'll at least get to see one more map between these two teams. Is worst case scenario now for Team 2 is to come away with the tie here on Anubis. They just need to get the single tick, and with 426 remaining, it's kind of a reverse of what we saw in King's Row. If they don't get this, then something has gone horribly wrong.
horribly wrong multiple times, right? Like you have to mess up many times. So especially with the Maya, once again, just get that Mail if you need it. But maybe they can pull the same thing like Scion did and get a huge shatter. That would obviously be ideal, but we'll see how it goes this first attack.
Okay, Scion just gonna take it right to them in the small room, and it works out in their favor. They get Hazard out of the fight, and they will be able to get the cleanup as well. A nice immortality field from Supreme really just lets them go in without fear for at least the time they need to clean up.
I got pretty scared, to be honest, when I saw that that wall come up from Nick and they kind of got isolated. But you know, Scion, they knew what they were doing and they got in there and did the damage necessary to take that fight. But the problem is they did it about 6-7 more times.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to have to be pretty much perfect on this defense, and now a bit of a different pathing from Team 2 as they go in right through the main choke. The wall is going to isolate a couple members, but it falls immediately. That shatter is pretty solid, but the Coalescence keeping the remainder of Team 2 alive as CJ builds up to that ultimate so quickly. Now laying in the damage, the heals as well. The wall isolates Supreme, no value out of that amplification matrix. Beautiful play from Nick is going to give them the fight win here on point A.
Yeah, that's textbook how you deal with that window. Is just it not only stops the Baptiste from doing ult through it, it actually makes him, you know, not be able to do anything for a few seconds as he tries to get around it. And in addition, Hazard TP'd up so that normally when a Widow would hang out up top, just came off the top ropes onto Sai's Mei and just finished him off. And from that point, it was pretty much easy pickings for him because he was already in the back line with the pick. And that attack with the Coalescence actually providing a lot of value as opposed to his counterpart in Supreme not really getting anything from his window. Just solidified Team 2's point there. So very well played from them.
Yeah, I mean, I think this map was the first time we really got to see kind of the reason that Team 2 has been running this Moira. It really comes through in a big way for them. The amount of coalescences that CJ is able to build up over the course of a map is just tremendous. And, you know, we see the power of that hero in particular.
Yeah, and I've seen him, I think, at least once or twice. You can utilize that to take out the bongo from Orisa really easily as well. So, once again, kind of D.Va in a way where you're thinking about all these interactions that you didn't think about before, or maybe have forgotten rather since you last played him. So he's doing a very good job. Even when they're losing fights, he's building his ult as fast as Supreme did. He actually had his faster. So that was a huge reason as to why they took that first point.
Yeah, I mean, it's fascinating to me to see that they're playing that Moira into the D.Va on the opposite side. I mean, it's not something that you're necessarily used to healing. You know, the amount of like utility that you can deny with that defense matrix just from eating the orbs usually kind of keeps Moira from being a smart pick into the D.Va. But so far, you know, at least there on Anubis, CJ really managing to make it work for Team 2 as they show some signs of life for the first time in this series.
Yeah, and it's great to see because of course we get more maps to see these teams trying to, and this is really good too because the chances are now we're going to see a map type that's been played before. So if they go to like Hollywood or regardless, if we go to like Hollywood, I'm thinking of what was the one we played before? Oh my gosh, I'm forgetting.
We played Kings Row earlier.
Kings Row, yeah. So I doubt that would be the case. That, you know, unless they think like Hollywood's going to play differently. But regardless of what's picked, you know, we see that we'll be able to see the adaptations that Team 2 will make on those. To see maybe they should start out with the brawl what we're doing here, or they have something else in mind.
Yeah, for sure. And indeed, the map pick now coming through. Scion going to be sending us to Hanamura for map number 4. So, well, actually, no, that is not allowed.
Unless they same type, yeah.
Yeah, we can't play 2 CP back to back. So they're gonna have to make a different pick.
I'm interested as to why they would want to do that, though, right? They just lost the 2 CP.
Yeah, you know,
like it's different map, yeah, but like. I don't know. Maybe there's something about Hanamura they have special, but maybe we'll see that later.
Yeah, if I'm Scion, I kind of want to go back to control. You know, that seems like what I would want to do in this situation. So
it's hard to say which one they dominated more. To be honest, they were both pretty dominant.
That's true. Yeah, so we'll just wait to get their pick in just a second. We did get Gibraltar banned out from Team 2, which has I am pretty positive no one has played Gibraltar in this entire tournament. No one seems to like that map.
Or maybe they know other people like it, and they say they probably played it. It's like such a good sniper map in that first point, and then it can be awkward because it's such a good sniper map originally, and then once you go in the hangar, like it can still be really good, but with that high ground, it can be awkward sometimes to try and take that back. So regardless, we are going to be seeing that we're going to be going to Volskaya. Wait,
no. Also, we told them they tried to pick on Amora. No, you can't pick that map type. Oh, we'll take Volskaya.
Obviously, Team 2 is in their head. I think we can conclude from these map picks that they are all in there. Yes. If you're a Scion fan, I would be very, very concerned at this point with their mental state.
Okay, the pick is in. It's locked in. We're going to Oasis. It's going to be control once again. So we'll see if Team 2 can kind of right the ship a little bit on this map type. It's a very different map to what we saw earlier on Lijiang Tower, but there's going to be similarities, especially when you look at like city center versus gardens. You've got the potential for those divier comps to come into play, and Scion looked really strong in that scenario. So we'll just have to see how Team 2 is going to respond to that.
Yeah. If I was Team 2, I would hope. I'm trying to think. Their Pharah. It seemed like I didn't really see anything from the Pharah battle, like to where one was really dominating the other. But especially when you take the D.Va into account, because D.Va is so strong against Pharah. It's another thing to keep in mind too. D.Va is really good about not even when you're not attacking her. Like the protection she provided was so good for Supreme to just stay alive. So if I was Team 2, I would try to stray away from that unless you're willing to play the D.Va. But then again, you have to consider how confident you are in that mirror matchup.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that would be one thing for Team 2 to kind of take away from that last map is if they can perhaps get onto Supreme a little bit more effectively, then you can kind of justify that pick. But we'll see what that's going to bring to the table in just a little bit. While we've got a little bit of break as teams kind of preparing to get into these maps, I do want to remind everyone at home, scroll down below the Twitch stream, vote for your MVP pick. We'll have an interview with them after the game. So far you've already said that Gummy seems like a really strong pick in that regard throughout the course of this series. Hard to disagree at this point, but that will be up to the viewers to decide.
Yeah, and I'm still sticking with it, even though they lost the last one. His play on Orisa, I mean, I didn't see anything super wrong or anything super impressive, although it can be difficult on Orisa, outside some big pools. Speaking of pools, we did see it from Team 2, actually, so I believe that was... I
think it's Devil. I think it's Devil that's been playing their Orisa.
Huge.
Although, well, it depends which comp they're playing.
No, it was the Fire Strike. They followed it with the Fire Strike.
Yeah, because when they're playing the Rhine Orisa, which has been their go-to, he's the one playing the Rhine for the.
Yeah. Well, regardless, I mean, he has to time it right, so that props to him. So their synergy is working well. So either of them has jumped up in my MVP poll. I don't know if they're MVP yet, but definitely top 2 or 3 for me. But when it comes to this specific map, it does look like Team 2 is going to be sticking with that more. It's been working really well for them, so I can't really fault them for that.
Yeah, but we're back to Where's My Jewel on that McCree. We saw it on
Doomfist now. Oh no, he's playing games.
Okay, yeah, that's not real. Not on this point. I wouldn't think. He's just gonna try to take advantage of kind of the open space that you've got to work with on this point, as the team's just kind of clashing on the point right now. The Rhine's going at it, and Psy gonna be the first one to fall. So Team 2 now kind of taking the initiative, getting really aggressive. A nice charge there from Niche, not gonna be enough to save his team, as they will fall giving up first capture on the point here.
So that whole fight, in my opinion, was from PG1 pulling in the the Mei from Scion, and just at that point his team had to help him. He got pulled in, and Team 2 was able to engage on him, and at that point the fight had begun, which might not have been what Scion wanted. They wanted to kind of feel around with the McCree. So shout out to PG1, very good pulls.
Okay, so now another fight here, and nice walls from both sides to set things up, and Psy again going down early. This time PMA Jellies will fall, and the Coalescence means that there's really no way for Scion to bring that one back.
It's like deja vu, man, where he's just getting it just before Supreme, and it's swaying these the follow-up fights rather in Team 2's favor, and so it's going to be very, very hard for okay, I was about to say, with the McCree to get back in here, because the Brawls will be able to take it to you. They'll just hide really close like they are now, so I really like positioning.
Oh, no. Psy! Oh my god, he just gets melted immediately. He was out on his own, and now Team 2 just trying to avoid getting, or Scion trying to avoid getting staggered out as Team 2 just pressing all the way forward to the spawn. Hazard, the Death Blossom at the spawn door.
That's BM, dude. That's BM. That was like something straight out of a horror movie. His back was turned when he got shattered too by the killer in the shadows. That was the Ryan of Devils coming out to just slap him down. That was tough to watch.
Yeah, I mean, Psy's got to be a little bit more careful in that situation. He can't be pressed out in front of the rest of his team. As now the Blizzard coming through from Nick is going to lock up Niche. The self-destruct not finding anything, and Scion now just completely a reversal of fortunes. They are getting decimated at this point. Yeah,
the Team 2 is like, in front of our eyes, learned how to adjust to this brawl comp and just take it to Scion. It's looking really rough for them. Now they're pulling out the Mora. I didn't even really realize they'd done that. So that's going to be huge coming in with their own call.
Yeah, they are going to have that, but they're going to have to fight their way through the supercharger. They do deal with it. Gummy in the backline on the Wrecking Ball, being a distraction, buying them some space a little bit in Scion. Look like they're finally going to be able to get their first fight win here on Oasis. As they flip it at 99%, but they've got to hold on for quite a while if they want to bring this one back.
I felt confident Team 2 was gonna win that because Nick did a great job of holding off Supreme's Coalescence. So at that point, you assume, okay, this is gonna be really, really bad for Scion, but they held on and pulled it out. But they're gonna have to do it a couple more times if they want this this point, especially with Team 2 coming up with the Coalescence of their own and Devil coming up with their own Shatter.
Yep, and Hazard going to teleport up to the high ground, trying to contest that for the time being. Is now a nice wall from Psy is going to set up this Death Blossom. He's going in deep. The Shatter as well, committed from Niche, is going to allow Team 2 or force Team 2 to back off. Rather, they commit the Coalescence in that fight, so a big resource gone. But knowing CJ, it'll be back up in no time.
Yeah, I still consider an Nako push. You did farm the Shatter, which is nice, but you're coming up on a Reaper ult in addition to a Mei ult, so I don't think they're looking bad whatsoever. I still feel confident they're going to take this, but just depends on how Sion's going to play these next couple fights.
They've got to, or Team 2 needs to come in and execute, especially on this Blizzard. Nick now has that one available. The Death Blossom committed, but Hazard going to be taken down immediately. They can't quite get the kill, and Where's My Jewel finding the kills as well. As right now it seems like Scion has flipped this one on its head. They've now got the upper hand for sure.
Yeah, that was textbook from them. Like the Shatter blocked, the Reaper Ultimate Death Blossom was countered effectively as well, so they didn't even need the beat there, but of course it's not, you would trade that every day, but this is going to be the decider here. There's one last chance for Team 2.
Yeah, they've got the Coalescence to try and get aggressive, but they're pushing into a Blizzard, they're pushing into the supercharged team of Scion, and they're just not even going to give them an opportunity to get any value out of the Coalescence. It's just Hazard trying to keep it alive on the point. He is alone with CJ as they're doing their best, but frozen up in the middle of the Death Blossom. It's not going to happen.
Oh man, it was looking so good for Team 2. I think the errors were that one fight where they used Shatter and Death Blossom, because if they just waited one more fight, they would have come in with a few more ults, and I think they would have just for sure won it. You know, it's definitely obviously winnable with a shatter alone, much less a death blossom on top of it. But you would want to go for the, I would think, like instead of going for 2 fights where you have like a 30 or 40% win rate, you go for the one that has like an 80% win rate when you stack 4 ults on top of each other. You know, so.
Yeah. I would agree, especially in that scenario where you're at 99%. Patience is so key. It's hard to hang on to that stuff in the moment when you think you have an opening as a player. You're always wanting to go for it. You think
you want to be the hero.
You can be the one to kind of clutch and win the fight for your team, win that point, and just close it out, not even have to go down to the wire.
Yeah, exactly. So the really nice TP from Team 2 getting themselves on the point. I like to see how this plays out for them right here.
Yeah, they do get there first, and they've got the opening position. Sai once again falling first in this fight. Nick taking out his opposite number. But Nitch has answered back with a nice fire strike, but still, it seems like it's just going to go in the direction of Team 2.
Yeah. Where's My Jewel did get a lot of value, so I was actually, when I was watching him, I was surprised that Team 2 came out because it looked like he was getting a lot of damage in, and I saw Hazard going more for the healers, which ended up working for him. You know, sectioning out that Mora to try to get no heals on our own team really is his perspective on how he should fight his fights, and it's working for him.
One thing to note, an early shatter available for Nitch. He's going to drop it in the back line, knocks down both of the healers. Mateball and CJ falling very, very low, but CJ fades out, gets that orb ready to go, and they do stay alive, just barely.
Yep, let's say repeat strategy. The Hazard just TPs around the healers, keeps them occupied, and his team takes care of the enemy Reaper, and everybody else is one big unit, and that's how they're holding this point. I think it's very ingenious way of approaching it. So that's the problem too, is that it's so hard to come into a brawl comp as the attacker, because they can really feel out where you are and position the Reaper accordingly. That you see Hazard up here waiting to strike.
And now it's going to have to be the coalescence from Supreme to give them an opportunity, but Hazard once again in the backline with the Death Blossom takes down his opposite number, but has fallen in the meantime. The Shatter for Team 2 not finding too much just yet, but now with the Supercharger at their backs, they'll surge forward.
That feels bad. You lose one guy, and right when you do it, you cull, and then you look like you get a trade kill, and then you pop the bongo right as you do it. You lose somebody else, so that had to have felt really awkward for them, and it just nothing feels like it's going right for them. I assume in their minds.
Yeah, and now they're definitely feeling the pressure at this point. This needs to be the fight for them, but they're pushing into a Blizzard. The support ultimate's up as well for Team 2. The Blizzard is out, and Nitch is isolated. He's going to be hard for him to stay alive, and Nick will eventually find the kill there. They can't even kill off Devil as he's frozen up as well, and that Blossom is not going to do a whole lot when it's all by itself.
Oh, man. Well, Team 2 turned it around. It looks like this was their point. They just never gave up control. They had an answer for pretty much everything Scion was coming in with. So, they're really adjusting well. Oh.
Okay, a late BM shatter there for Nitch. He gets a little bit of a revenge. They don't win the point, but he does get that kill. But now, if you're Team 2, you've got to be feeling like this might have been like a little bit of a blown opportunity. You feel like this map should be over right now.
Exactly. Yeah, they had every opportunity to win on that first map, and it's just maybe they got a little antsy trying to claw back into this game. But as it stands, they're still looking really good. They for sure have the momentum in this match, so or this map at least. So this map kind of plays the exact same. It's even more geared towards Mora, with it being the orbs can just bounce around this interior area or over near the mini and the side corridor. So we'll see if any adjustments come out of Scion to try and right the wrongs that they've been playing from the last map.
Yeah, exactly. And a nice teleporter gets Team 2 on the point first. They use that wall to kind of gain position on the point, and they are in the driver's seat for this first fight. They deal with Nitch immediately focusing down that front line, and now Where's My Jewel caught out a little bit, not going to be able to escape to his team, and Team 2 once again off on the right foot.
Yeah, this is so interesting to me because the Reapers have just changed strategy. So this time, Hazard stayed with his team and took out the front line of Scion, and Where's My Jewel TP'd to the back line and went after the healers. So I wonder if his team's trying to say, hey, you should try to maybe go after the healers more. It's working for the other Reaper, but this time for whatever reason, I mean, they sectioned off Scion really well and just has Hazard there to just pump in the damage. It's working.
It's been fantastic so far. He has really kind of found his footing throughout this series. Now they've got Sai a little bit isolated in here, but not going to be able to chase down that kill. The Shatter goes down, not going to find anything. Is Devil as the Coalescence is both committed here, and now the brawl taking place on the point. The nice halt sends several members of Team 2 down into the pit. Scion looking to capitalize on that, but the beat keeps Team 2 in this one for the time being. Magic Bait Ball with the nice timing, but it's not going to be enough to keep Nick alive. The death blossom committed by Hazard as well, and they might be fighting this one back. Devil and PT1 doing their best. I don't think it'll be enough, but they're making a go of it.
Yeah, these ults seem completely wasted, but at the same time, like they are kind of pulling it back, even with the beat invested.
And now they've got reinforcements back in the fight. PG1 has now found PMA jellies, so Scion just they lose an opportunity there in Team 2 somehow with a miracle fight.
Golly, dude, they are actually they gotta be so tilted right now. That's gotta feel so bad to lose that fight. It's just you invest in ults, and then you get value and you get the win. It looks like, and then next thing you know, they're Team 2's pulling out ults and just pulling something out of there with like two members left.
Okay, here we go. The wall has caught a couple members. The Shatter is going to deal with Supreme and perhaps just take him off the edge of the map. In fact, it will, but in the meantime, you know, Team 2, they seem to be cleaning up the rest of the fight. Hazard on the front line playing Gatekeeper, and they're going to come away with the win here on Oasis and even things up.
Oh man, it's like a different team, man. We're seeing a revitalization of this Team 2 team, figuring out exactly what they need to do. Just taking it to the Scion, and it's just a formality at this point. They're just farming stats.
Yeah, for sure. Gummy on the Diva once again, not going to be able to do anything on his lonesome. Where's my jewel? It's just down to killing off these staggers. But what a comeback so far for Team 2. If they manage to get the reverse sweep, that will be one of the most phenomenal, you know, just adjustments throughout a series that I have ever seen.
Yeah, it looks like they're a different team. I mean, maybe both of these, like, the way they're playing, it's just like role reversal. I don't know exactly what's going on, because they're playing like the same comps basically, right? So, you know, outside Team 2, I believe they started on like the Zen BAP. Outside that, like they did swap quickly to the Brawl, and ever since then they were still losing. We had a whole like map and a half where they're just getting dominated on it, and now the switch has been flipped.
Yeah, I mean the one thing is, you know, once Team 2, you know, got onto the brawlier comps of their own, once they started running, you know, Hazard on the Reaper, it started to turn around. You know, they found a modicum of success on like their King's Row attack. They just had gotten steamrolled so bad on the defense that they never really had a shot on that map. But you know, outside of that and the weirdness that was Lijiang Tower with kind of the divey comps that got played on Gardens, and the weird, you know, I truly don't know what was going on with the McCree comp that Scion was running to success on Night Market. But other than that, I mean, Team 2 has shown signs of life, but like now it's just completely flipped on its head.
Yeah, so for Scion Esports, like, what do you do at this point? Like, do you start with the Mora now? I mean, I guess if you want to do that, surely I don't think they would consider swapping off Brawl, because I don't know exactly. But, you know, if you play it on, let's see, we can do Hanamura. What's VI? I don't know what. Ekenbold, Hollywood, Volskaya. Volskaya Industries. I've never.
I tell you what I want.
Volskaya Industries.
Yeah, I tell you what I want to see. I want them to go to Ike, and I want them to try potentially to run the Pharah.
You want Scion to run it?
Yeah, I kind of see that as an opening for them. I thought Psy was quite good on that when they ran it on Lijiang Tower. Now, whether that winds up being the case, I would probably suspect not. You know, if we think back to you know, the previous pick ban phase, they wanted to take us to Hanamura. and then Volskaya as well. So like my guess is that one of those two maps is going to be coming through, but I don't know. Like Team 2 has found the secret recipe here, and it's incredible to watch.
Yeah, when I'm thinking of these maps, I think Volskaya would probably work for Scion better because at least with the first point, and to some respect the second point, you have that high ground defensively to where you can, if you feel like maybe you want to swap off the brawl, that would be the way to do it. And obviously Farrah's good there, better than Hanamura for sure. So that's my pick for them. I don't know what they're gonna do, but I can't imagine they would do Eichenwald or Hollywood. I would be surprised if they did either, especially if they're gonna try to get both of the two CPs earlier.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, there's Volskaya.
Okay, well, Volskaya is gonna be the ban from.
Oh, the ban. Okay, yep, never mind.
Okay, so that one's not in play. So Hanamura, I would guess, is the pick here for Scion if I'm hazarding a guess, but we'll see if that indeed is going to be the case. I mean, they have to be kind of shook after these last two maps. Like everything was going in their favor. They were kind of getting, there was some BM coming through in the chat as you know these teams were going at it, and now they have to be reeling a little bit after that one.
Yeah, at this point, like if you're in Sion's Esports shoes, you don't even remember what it's like to win. Like you don't remember those maps. Like they're so far in your memory. Like it's gone. Like you all you feel is just losses at this point. Like it can be so difficult to focus on the positive and just try to figure out what you need to do, because when you come out and you start to win, it feels good. But then if they adjust and you feel like okay, it's a different feeling than when you just start losing immediately, because then like the team that can adapt to your playstyle, it can be in a lot of ways a lot more dangerous than the team that can just come out and start beating you off the get go.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, the one good bit of news here that I got for Scion, we're swapping sides again. They're back in red. At this point, it's the only explanation that I've got right now. Like there's something magic about the red team in this lobby right now. We'll see if that comes to fruition as we roll into Hanamura.
Yeah, maybe you set the pace. I'm trying because when you're red, you're attacking first, so like you're setting the standard. Maybe that's the way to do it when it comes to brawl.
But it was true on the two control maps too. Like
yeah. Well, my theory has its limitations. So.
We'll just have to see if there's any adjustments here from Scion in terms of compositions at least, or at least how they approach their play. I mean, I can't imagine they are going away from those brawl comps, but they've got to attempt something. They can't.
This would be the map to do it, I think. Well, I mean, outside Volskaya, of course, but you can still do it here. It's because if you can put somebody, like, if they have a brawl, if the enemy team has a brawl, and you have like somebody that can take a high ground, like it's so much easier for you because you don't have to worry about moving because they don't have anybody to really contest you. You don't have to worry about a Widow or a Hanzo shooting at you. So, in that respect, it can be a very, very strong opportunity to do something different, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen.
Yeah, I think not, as Team 2 rolling out on the defense with exactly what you would expect at this point. They haven't, really had to alter their play style at all over these last couple of maps, and now they find themselves with the momentum at their backs, and Scion gonna give it another go with Gummy on the Diva, Jewel picking up the McCree once again, but how is this gonna work as they fight through the choke point? The wall sections them off, and that McCree completely out of the fight right now.
Yep. This is I don't even know what to think anymore. Where's my Jewel can't even get through the front door, so he's really just dead weight, it feels like at this point. It's very, very tough. I would like for him to go like a Hanzo if he wants to try something different, so he can at least get up and flank on the side.
Mm-hmm. Right, yeah, I mean, because now he has to go through the choke with his team, but that puts you right in the thick of the fight, which is not where you want to be as Reaper, and now they lose Niche late in this one. That's just a rough stagger for Scion.
Yeah, I really think because especially with playing against the Mei, like you need to have somebody that can either get in real quickly or has a way of getting above that or something, because this is going to be very, very tough for them unless they bait out the wall, which they did here. So very good, very good for them.
That's what they needed in this scenario. They've got Supreme up on the high ground, laying in those heals. The Shatter comes out though. It lands on the 2. Where's My Jewel will be the first to fall. Now Niche frozen up in this fight. The Coalescence gonna finish him off and get Psy as well. CJ continuing to have a massive impact in this series.
Yep, it's like, once again, deja vu, broken record. The Coalescence coming out before any of the other ults and just making big plays. I struggle to see. Okay, they're swapping. Okay, there we go. They're very happy to see this Reaper.
Yeah, and now that they have a Rhine Orisa of their own, but now caught up in the Blizzard, they do kind of bait that one out. It's just going to be Jewel who's caught by that one. A nice wall, going to prevent any retreat from him, but the sound barrier committed. Scion want to fight this one out. They use their Blizzard. They bait Team 2 into the fight, and they finally get what they were looking for.
Oh, that's like the jackpot for a Baptiste. He came up in the side. Frozen. Everybody's frozen in front of him. He's got his ultimate in front of him. I bet he did more damage than anybody by a long shot in that fight.
Yeah, and I mean, that is like such a split-second thing right there. I mean, if Jewel has a second less in his Wraith form, he goes down before that fight even really gets going, and they end up losing it potentially, but they get everything working in their favor. And now Scion rotating through the low ground, they're just going to get right onto a point, but Team 2 there to greet them, and with a sound barrier backing them up, the Coalescence committed as well is going to mean that Scion has no real shot in this. This was always an eco push for them, so they'll be really okay with this.
Yep, they got. I think both teams kind of got what they wanted. With Scion getting out the beat, but Team 2 not, making sure they don't get steamrolled, which can certainly happen. And now with them having only a Shatter, nothing else. Maybe the Mail. Otherwise, it looks like this could be a very strong push for Scion coming in here.
For sure, they'll have that supercharger niche with the Earth Shatter ready to go as well, so they've got some tools to try and find an opening. It's going to be the same rotation for them. They bait out the wall quite nicely, so now they'll be able to get through here pretty safely as they try to fight their way up the low ground. The Shatter only knocking down 2 for niche, but that's going to be enough for Team 2. It looks like to hang on this defense. The freeze in on the PG1 might turn this around though. Oh no, the trades were going in their favor at first, but that has changed in a heartbeat. CJ falls. Now it's just going to be Devil Alive. He's not going to make it back to the point. Nick does get there with the ice block to buy some time, but still this is going to be so difficult.
Oh man, this feels so bad because Nick's Blizzard got canceled, which is what led to all of this.
Yeah, and now they're just desperately trying to keep it going, but they can't seem to find any of the kills. Hazard forced off the point. Nick doing his best with the Doomfist in here, but there's not going to be an opportunity for him to find the kills. They need a miracle at this point, and it's just not happening.
Yeah, full stall at this point. Brawl is so hard to dislodge from the point. It's gonna be dang near impossible to get him off here.
And they boop Devil away and finish it off. So Scion now answer back in a big way here on Hanamura. They finish with 2:13 remaining on the clock. Not necessarily the fastest time, but they're going to be really happy with that, especially with how that point A attack was going. That they'll be very pleased.
Well, we did get to see Widow, so that was cool. She forgot about that character for a little bit. Yeah, that's the thing about Brawl. There's 2 things that really showed there is that you only need like 3 or 4 characters to really just decimate people. When you have a Mei and a Reaper, like that 1-2 combo of just freezing plus just destroying people with just about the most damage you could ever get close range, is a highlight of Brawl, as well as once they get on the point and you get that Rhine swinging and the Reaper just shooting you and the Mei just sectioning off the one side and then freezing the other. It's one of the hardest comps to dislodge once they are solidified on the point. So you just can't let it get to there. But like I said before, Nick's ultimate got canceled. I think he just got killed as he was doing it. So that alone, I think, was the reason that occurred.
Yeah, that is just a huge play coming through from Scion as they finally crack through. Team 2 now have to respond with an attack of their own, and we've seen what they've been able to do over these last few maps. If they can keep that kind of performance going, then they definitely still have a good shot in this map. But they've got to be able to get through this point A defense. Psy going to be attempting to lock down those chokes with the walls, and crucially, Gummy has now gone over to the Orisa for sure. They want to match the comp completely that Team 2 are running.
Yeah, they did. They lost their Mora, but they did get 5 people in, so looking pretty strong for Team 2. Although, as I say it, they lose Orion.
Yeah, they did. They had a nice strategy at the start of that. They were trying to get right on top of Jewel, who was waiting on the inside of that point, hoping they could burst him down, but he raced out, and they aren't able to get the kill, and we're just kind of stuck in the fight at that point. They don't even build up much ult charge to speak of in that engagement, as Scion off to a good start.
Yeah, another thing to keep in mind is Supreme has free reign up here, so you watch for him to just do the most amount of damage and healing that he could ever want to.
Okay, nice help. Pulls a lot of Team 2 in. The shatter from Niche, not going to find anything, though. He's now frozen up, and the immortality field is gone. That is the go signal for Team 2 as they surge forward. They get the Reinhardt. They've got the Coalescence at their backs now, and they're pushing forward aggressively. Once again, that Amp Matrix gets absolutely nothing done for Scion, and point A just going to go for Team 2.
All right, well, I mean, when you got the Coalescence coming in and you get the pick early enough, then no matter how much damage you're dealing, you're going to be able to power through. So very, very nice coordination, and just quick. With this comp, you can't really hesitate. Like, you can't take... It's not like I'm going to go in and somebody's going to off angle or whatever. You have to be all on the same page at the same time, and they just, kind of mirror what they've been doing these past couple maps. They're feeling it right now, and they're all on the same page.
And Team 2 just going to go straight for the point there. A little bit cut off by that wall, though. They do manage to burst down Niche immediately, and now the Death Blossom committed by Hazard. Not going to find anything. He's taken down by Gummy. The kills here for Scion are going to be enough for them to hang on to this defense. They stabilize. They stave off that snowball push.
Yeah, Devil got countered by the... Gummy put down a shield right as he shattered. I don't know if that was calculated or anything, but does feel bad for Devil there. So now all they've got is their Mail, and they're coming up on a B. A Coalescence as well, but on the other side they do have... Scion does have the Reaper ult, so this is actually looking really good for Team 2 to come in with this next push with the ult economy at least.
Yeah, they're just going to try to force another fight on the point, force Scion to drop down into the Blizzard. They freeze up Niche immediately. The charge in onto him, and that Death Blossom not finding anything for Where's My Jewel. 3 kills now for Team 2. The Coalescence, again, keeping them going, keeping them powered up in this fight, and they're now just trying to finish off the stragglers. That wall is absolutely beautiful, prevents Niche from getting out there on the Wrecking Ball, and now they just got to deal with the cleanup.
Yeah, this fight has been clean. It was no real heroics here. They weren't down or anything. They might be coming back though.
The Amp Matrix is out, so that gives an opportunity, but the wall is there from Nick to separate them. They've gotten a couple kills now, have Scion. They're back on the Wrecking Ball, and they're going to be able to repel Team 2. 2 ticks given over, but they stay alive.
Oh man, that was looking very, very scary, and it was going to be even worse because the way they had taken that fight and gotten on point was just so solid, as opposed to as we saw before with Scion having to fight 2v or 3v6 or whatever they did, where they pulled some heroics. So regardless, they did get 2 ticks, so Team 2 can't be too upset about it.
No, but and they do kind of reset the ult economy completely here. They're going to be coming in, with the shatter ready to go. A Coalescence almost online again here for CJ, but the Blizzard has locked down Devil. The Rhine is frozen up. Now they're going to collapse in onto PG1 as well. So a nice fight there for Scion as they continue strongly on this defense.
So I would highly expect that this next fight is for sure going to be Team 2 unless they mess something up coming up with 5 ults. So with that in mind, you just need to get 1 tick. Surely they're going to be able to do it and end up with you would think about the same amount of time as Scion.
Yeah, Scion has to be very careful with how they approach this fight. They have to know that those resources are there for Team 2, and they can't be too aggressive. It's just going to be the tanks dropping onto the point right now. The Supercharger committed very early for Team 2 is going to be dealt with immediately. The Blizzard only finding niche, so Scion surviving for the time being, but there come the kills. The charge onto Psy, and the tick is going to go through. Very even time banks here on Hanamura. Both teams finished with just over 2 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, I got a little worried when that bongo kind of got destroyed pretty easily, but they recovered, and once you get that value that they did on the mail, then you can take it pretty easily at that point. So Scion has definitely bounced back for sure with the way they've handled this map. Because obviously the last 2 maps have been very tough, especially since we're sticking with the same comps. We're rolling with Brawl throughout the completion of this series of maps, it seems. So nice to see them kind of adapting. It's something to see exactly what the changes are. It's just like the way the fights play out. Like it's so many minuscule things. It's hard to put it into one big change.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it just feels like they are not taking Team 2 as lightly. It felt like earlier on they were playing with such massive confidence that they were being, I would say, a little over kind of eager early on with Scion. They were just kind of like steamrolling Team 2 earlier on in the series, and I think that got them a little bit too kind of overconfident. They thought they could take any fight at any time, and eventually as Team 2 adapted, that wasn't going to be the case. But now, okay, Magic 8 Ball was on the Brigitte for a second, and I was very worried.
Nah, you don't want to see that his Brigitte. It's not good. I've seen it. I should just kidding. I haven't seen it.
Oh, they don't know that Jewel is here. They don't know that he's there. He's in the backline. He's not finding anything just yet. They collapse onto him. In the meantime, Supreme has fallen. He will get Devil out of the fight, but gives his life for it. That's the opening for Team 2 to keep pushing forward. They've got the 4v5 advantage. Make that 5v3 as they continue to push forward. Side doing what he can, but it's just not enough. This Team 2, they get the early fight win, and that is massive because they'll be able to roll into point B with a bit of an ult advantage.
Yeah, the Ringer of Hazard for Team 2 coming in clutch. He, I have to imagine that he TP'd onto Supreme, who was playing the BAP, and just massacred him. He just got destroyed like before the fight even really broke out. So obviously, if you're down your BAP, you're that's the one, I think, the biggest hero when you're playing double shield that you would not want to lose. So props to him. Very nice plays.
Yeah, this is going to take a real effort from Scion. They're gonna have to deal with the coalescence from CJ. They've isolated PG1. He is all alone, but they can't get the collapse immediately. The freeze is coming through from Psy, and now he's got the blizzard that might just be enough to save them in this situation. The coalescence cannot protect Devil. PG1 gonna fall as well. So Scion, they avoid the snowball and they avoid disaster.
Yeah, that's really impressive that he farmed that May freeze so fast. He definitely, I'd have to say he saved that point for him for Scion Esports. So, and another good thing is that they have 4 ults coming up, 5 ults actually, excuse me. So this is setting them up for a easy last minute hold.
Yeah, the one thing though, Nick is going to have that Blizzard. That's kind of been the most impactful ult throughout this series on both sides. So if he can land a big one, it's going to be massive. But the supercharged Death Blossom just melting through the side of Team 2. The Hazard though answering back, but the kills are there for Scion. They've done enough to stay alive. It's going to come down to one final fight as Team 2 try to make this happen.
Ooh, it's tough. It's tough with those ults being used. So each team has a significant amount of ults here, but like with the May ult, we'll see if Team 2 can make that happen. Hopefully, Scion is aware of this, so they can spread out and maybe utilize this high ground.
Yeah, they've got Nick with an ult of his, Nick drops it down on the point. It's not going to be enough. It seems like the beat is keeping Team 2 in this, and the Coalescence committed as well. They've gotten a couple kills. They've got Hazard alone up on the high ground and no one to deal with him right now. PMA Jelly's going to try and take that duel, put a little pressure on him, and now Hazard just continuing to hit shots. but it seems like Scion have the numbers. They've got the respawn advantage. Where's my Jewel laying in that damage, and it's going to be enough for them to prevent any points coming through on point B.
Yeah, some nice shots from Hazard, but the shout out to Scion for every time he was peeking, like they had somebody on PMA Jellies. He just like that Reddit Lucio intuition kicked in. You say I see a Widow, I'm gonna go and distract him, annoy him in any way possible. Despite the nice shot from Hazard, it's the damage had been done, and at that point, especially when you're going up against two shields in a brawl comp, which is a very mobile comp, it's gonna be very hard to hit shots. So. I understand the logic for it, but it's just it can be so difficult. So you can see there why we haven't seen that character much with the brawl comps that have been played.
Yeah, for sure. And they had just lost too many members on the initial entry. They couldn't get the fight set up that they were looking for, and now it's all going to come down to this final attack for Scion. They need to at least get point A to avoid losing the series. If it'll take a single tick on point B to get the win for themselves. But remember, they had so much trouble with their first round attack on point A that getting through the choke was so difficult for them. So, if you're your team 2, I think you're still feeling pretty confident at this point.
Yeah, definitely. It is their game, their series at this point to lose. So it all comes down to this attack as to whether Scion can make it happen or if team 2 can complete the reverse sweep.
Most definitely, but this time they will be starting out on the Reaper. Last time it was the McCree for Scion, but that wall is going to isolate Niche. He is not going to be able to make it out there. There's no chance at that point. They can't get through in enough time to save him, and now they're looking to hunt down the remaining members of Scion, chasing them all the way to spawn. Yeah,
Nick's walls have been so consistent this whole series, so continuing as usual, and it's a huge dagger onto the Lucio.
Yeah, Pima Jellies was trying to go for a little bit of a back cap. A strange attempt there from the Reddit Lucio, but will now just reset, give Scion another opportunity here. But they got rolled in terms of ult charge in that final fight. The one thing they have going for them is Supreme, almost up to that coalescence of the wall. Nice from Sai to get them through the choke, but still, they just get melted.
Yeah, those walls, they're so deadly. It's like, what do? Do you like bait your Orisa in there and then have your Ryan just start swinging and try to bust through? Because it's just, and even then, like, you can get like one section and then still your Orisa can't fit through, so you have to get two. So that's why Nick's walls here just being such a nuisance for Scion. It's so hard to get through here.
Yeah, they've got to do whatever they can to bait them out. They can't just keep charging the choke, but they don't even get it out this time, even as they push forward, and the tanks are isolated now. Both Coalescence is committed, but Niche again falls early. The Death Blossom going to be committed from Hazard, and now we're down to 30 seconds. Scion just going to have one attempt to do this. They're going to be pushing into the Blizzard from Nick. They are in dire straits right now.
Yeah, they're about matched, like, when it comes to the ults they're coming along, but they just don't have time to farm that last few percentage, so they're gonna have to run in against a huge Blizzard Bongo.
And how do you even get to the point? It's probably just gonna have to be Jewel teleporting into the backline to trigger the overtime. They can't bait out the wall. The Blizzard is right on top of them. They're all getting frozen up, but the counter Blizzard is not bad, but still the kills are there for Team 2. They're cleaning up this fight. They don't even really have to worry about the point right now. Now they can turn back. They've got the supercharger beefing them up. That Death Blossom almost does something, but Jewel taken care of, and now it's just desperation for Scion. They're trying to stream onto the point and keep this going, even with the sound barrier.
4 here. They have 5 here now.
They've got the sound barrier. They've got the coalescence going. This is possible.
Oh my gosh.
All the shatter is there as well. It doesn't find anyone though. Niche not able to connect on that one. Now trying to charge in, just looking for the kills. I think they just might have done it.
That's insane, man. The spawn of just being like 3 or 4 seconds shorter for the attacker seem to be paying dividends for Scion here, and their switch to stall heroes. Oh my god, that's gonna be so tilting for Team 2. You were already starting to celebrate. I'm pretty sure they had already just thought about winning and just like assumed they had won, but the stall was just so good that their Reaper. Where's my Jewel TP'd in? He was the reason that they even stalled it. So they didn't have the Reaper for the fight. And yet he just got his ultimate and just was spamming Q, got that one pick, and just led to that whole stagger.
And now the only ultimate online is going to be Psy with this Blizzard. There's still an opportunity. This isn't over yet. He drops it down. They've frozen up the tank line. Devil going to be dealt with immediately, and they're looking good. Scion, the tick is almost through. It looks like they're going to make it happen by the skin of their teeth. They will survive.
That feels so bad.
They have to be breathing the biggest sigh of relief right now. They almost throw away this series after going up 2-0. Team 2 fights it back, but Scion clutch up on Hanamura, just barely survive. And they come out on top.
That was insane. I assumed it was going to be a draw at that point. I was like, there's no way they'd do this, but they just ran in there and just take that first point. They still had, Team 2 still had people alive. They just, that was really crazy, that stagger that they did.
Yeah, I mean the Blizzard was what really kind of saves them there at the end. Like the fact that Psy just happens to be at at full charge. He didn't build up to it on point A, because otherwise you have to imagine if he had that ult on point A, he's gonna throw it in and they wouldn't have it to complete out the map. But the timing works out for Scion and they escape just barely here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I think we said before, I think you said it, there's two equally matched teams, and you really can't get much more equally matched than this. It was a great game. I really would like to see the reverse sweep, because reverse sweeps are amazing, but the way it went down was definitely one of the more exciting ways you could ask.
Yeah, the tension throughout was just incredible to watch. I mean, it was such a strange series, because you see a 3-2, you see a 5-map series, and it feels like these teams should have been like going back and forth like a tug of war the entire night, but really it was like Scion dominates the first 2 maps, Team 2 dominates the next 2, and then finally there on Hanamura we get that close down to the wire final map that we wanted, and it delivered on all fronts. I mean, the rematch here was fantastic to see. Scion getting revenge for the earlier match in this tournament, and they are going to be moving on to go up against What's Your Peak to decide who goes into the lower bracket final.
Yeah, I mean, it only gets better from here for sure. It could have been either team, and I think either team would definitely take it to What's Your Peak for sure. But as it stands, I mean, their brawl just came out of the gate strong, and then as we saw the Team 2 adapted to their brawl, they returned the favor, and well, at least on 2CP they were able to adjust and make them do what they needed to do, even if it was just as a slim a margin as what we saw.
For sure. And now we're just waiting to get the results of that MVP poll to kind of figure out who we're going to be interviewing here. A lot of good options on both sides. I mean, I don't even know how you make a choice in this series. The swings back and forth just make this nearly impossible in my mind.
Yeah. I think Nick's walls were always really, really good. The one thing on Hanamura that I saw was that side, for whatever reason, like they didn't utilize the counter wall, where you can wall in like horizontally or across the way and try to get in. And I don't know. I think that might be more attributed to Nick doing a good job of getting in it ahead of time. So he's I don't know though. I can't decide. So
yeah,
but I did want to shout him out.
Yeah, and he was fantastic throughout the series for Team 2. We know his Mei is really, really top tier when it comes to these tier 3 players, so would not be a bad choice at all. But it does look like that award, that honor, gonna go over to PMA Jellies here tonight. The main support for Scion Esports coming away with the MVP award. We'll get him in here for an interview in just a moment, but my God, I'm still like coming down. My heart's still racing after that one.
Yeah, as I'm sure everybody's in here that was playing, but was definitely. You've got to imagine, like I I don't know if anybody's ever been in that situation when it comes to Overwatch, when you just lose or win that kind of match, but you couldn't get two more different reactions. It's just the opposite ends of the spectrum. The agony of defeat, thrill of victory is it's what we love and what we hate about this game.
Yeah, for sure. And there is the man of the hour himself, PMA Jellies, joining us for the post-match interview. We were just talking, we're still coming down from the high of that series. I can't imagine what it's like for you.
Bro, my blood is rushing. That was crazy. Every single game was an absolute nightmare. Like, oh my god. Like, I don't even know what to say. I'm speechless. Well,
the nightmare's over, my friend. So congratulations.
Yeah,
how did you guys feel? Like, so we saw the two first team maps. You guys pretty much dominated. What did you feel was one of the biggest changes that Team 2 made to change? Like, obviously take the next two maps.
Yeah, they definitely changed up their comp on the third map. I forget what it was.
It's been a while. I understand.
Yeah. I think I was talking to Hazard. He said he made the call to like change away from I think like Zenbap, because like we were completely rolling Zenbap on King's Row because speed is just way too OP with Mei and Reaper or even McCree. So once they started to change up their comp a bit, it got a little bit tougher. They got some maps on us, but we stuck it out in the end, and we pulled through.
Yeah. So I want to ask you about that final map in particular, and especially the final attack round. Like what is going through the comms in those final moments, especially on point A when y'all are kind of rushing to the point, trying to keep it going. How do you kind of keep from letting it just devolve into pure chaos at that point?
we try to like calm a wall. We try to focus either like a tank or someone who's out of position, but it's like a bunch of clutter. You're just trying to find a target. I don't know. It's hard to explain. Luckily, our Ryan was there to wall off the Shatter, wall the Mei freeze. Especially on that last push, last round, they like killed 3 of us. It's me and Remorse on the point. Somehow he kills Mei. Oh man. That's all I got.
Okay. Now you guys got a little bit of revenge against Team 2 after they knocked you down into the lower bracket in the first place. You get the last laugh here tonight. How does it feel to kind of flip the script like that?
Vengeance is sweet. I'm not sure if Hazard was. I know we had Remorse coming back from vacation the first time we versed them, so we were a little bit sloppy there. And then I feel like this time we were really prepared with our new meta with the Lucio BAP and the Rush comp. Before we didn't play that, so I think it was kind of even with that meta, the Zenbap.
Mm-hmm.
But also I think Hazard, I don't think he played the last time we versed them, and I think Hazard made it more difficult for us this time around.
So I think it was more difficult this time, even though last time we all lost?
Yeah, definitely. Last time I feel like we were just playing sloppy.
Okay.
But this time we brought our A game, but so did they, and it was really close.
Yeah, can't get much closer than that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, so like you talked about the new meta, and like we saw you guys were playing a lot of Gummy on the D.Va. What is it about that comp that really kind of plays into your style?
All right, D.Va. There's some disagreement on the team right now whether we should run D.Va or Orisa. I'm on Team D.Va because D.Va can eat Ripper Roll, eat Nail. The 3-second cooldown on the boosters allows her to have insane mobility compared to Orisa. Also, the D.Va Bomb I feel like is more powerful than Bongo, especially in close quarters team fights like that. And especially with speed boost and when I'm playing Lucio, I look for those boops to get people out of position, to kill them in Diva bombs. I don't know. I just enjoy Diva more, personally, than Orisa. I feel like with Orisa, it's just more clutter on your screen. You don't really know what's going on. Yep.
Gotcha. I did want to point out the that one time they went Widow, and I just saw you immediately just dive bomber. The red Lucio. I saw it as soon as it's just inherent as soon as you see her, right?
Yeah, right. I haven't seen a Widow in like 5 seasons, bro. I had to do something.
Yeah, the instincts just kick in though.
Yep.
All right. Well, I think that's going to bring us to the end of the interview. I do want to give you big congratulations on a hard-fought series. That was a joy to watch. But before we let you go, do want to give you the opportunity. Give shout-outs to anyone behind the scenes. Thanks to fans, plug streams, anything like that.
Our coach carried that one, but I want to give a shout out to a video that's probably going to come out tomorrow. It's going to be our roster reveal. You should check it out. It's going to be out tomorrow. It's going to be big.
It's going to be huge.
All right. Can't wait.
All right.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, PMA always. Congrats on the big win, and can't wait to see you guys in your next match.
Thank you. See ya.
Good night.
All right, well, that's gonna bring us to the end of the broadcast, and what what a night of games it was. Two matches go to 5 maps, and that last one of the most tense series I've seen in a long time.
For sure, it's a pleasure.
Yeah, as always, it's been a pleasure casting with you, Tony, and for everyone here at Star Esports, I've been Shy Guy. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, and we will see you all next time with more action from the All-Star Brawl.
Thank you.